Welcome back.
Toros,
This is mission number 3 for the Vergeev Group campaign, and those guys actually got started pretty quick. The convoy I'm supposed to escort, so I'm going to just go through my startup flow real quick here, and you can listen to the mission briefing from the characters.
Naval.
233 online, Naval.
223, take off from parking place when ready. Pass first waypoint and head north of Flight Control Center. Border Guard supply convoy is waiting for you there. They start upon green flyer. Escort the convoy to the border. Keeps them inside. Stay close. Stop the mission upon convoy order. Withdrawal according to plan. How do you copy?
223 copies that all. After first waypoint, fly to the north of Flight Control Center. Convoy there. Start upon green flare. Keeping convoy in sight. Engaging.
Correct 223. Get down to walk. Over.
Okay, so this mission, because it was made in that editor from a long time ago, has a bug that the convoy starts really quickly, so they're already on their way and I need to catch up with them. But you heard my controller mention what I was supposed to be doing. Stop the feed here. Basically, I'm escorting this convoy Toros to an area close to the Georgian border, and well, let's just get going. But you still have to hit your waypoints, so you can see I already missed one.
323, airborne.
Okay, got that one. Sorry, this is kind of sloppy here, but I want to catch up with them. This is a great mission to practice low speed maneuvering. We're going to be doing about 50 kph the entire mission, since that's pretty much the limit of the speed for the convoy, which is right there, those guys. Did I miss another waypoint? Sometimes it's hard to tell. So it's important to be able to trim the helicopter so that it's going to basically want to go
Toros, entering the road, running at 40, 233, inspect the bridge in front, near the town.
Okay, they want me to inspect this bridge, but I need to hit this waypoint. It looks like I didn't get it. See, but as I was saying, you basically want to trim out the controls so that by default the helicopter wants to go about 50 kph in level flight, and we will make sure that that's what we've got going on here after I inspect this bridge. But first I have to hit this waypoint there, hit it. The Toros asked us to inspect this bridge up here. Let's see where we're trimmed at the moment. By just letting go of pretty much letting the controls default back to their center. There's the bridge. Well, I'm not an engineer, but it looks okay to me.
Passing waypoint 2 at 140.
Want to set my reset my setting for the altimeter. Looks like we're going to be pretty close to being trimmed around 50 kph, so that's good. And you know, I'm a little bit low on my actual altimeter, my radar altitude autopilot channel, but that's okay. It's kind of fun to fly around through the town here. You know, you can basically, once you've got the helicopter trimmed, you know, take your hands off the throttle and stick and just use the rudder pedals. But most of this time I've just been using my rudder pedals.
Passing waypoint 3 at 120. 323. Passing waypoint 3
you can see that I do not have the heading channel, autopilot channal engaged. Otherwise, I'd be fighting it the whole time, because it would want to constantly try to maintain the heading that was that the helicopter was at when the autopilot channel was engaged. I think there's another flight. That's what all that radio chatter is there's another flight of helicopters. And I thought that they pretty much passed by us. We should see them pretty soon. I know it's tempting to want to land on one of these buildings, but Alright, this
323.
messages are kind of annoying, so I'm going to go ahead and bump up the altitude a little bit. There they are.
Passing waypoint 5 at 120.
So for low speed maneuvering, you can see that I prefer to just have my two top channels, autopilot channels engaged, and usually the altitude channel engaged, set at a low altitude, and pretty much just use the rudder pedals and goof around. You can also try to do things like learn some air show maneuvers, like flying sideways along
Passing waypoint 6 at
the same heading,
323. Passing
or
waypoint
flying
5
backwards.
at 2300.
Simple air show type maneuvers. It's a good mission to practice those kinds of things. And you'll need to know how to maneuver at slow speeds because of upcoming missions that have you in very tight spaces where you need to be able to control the motion of the helicopter at very low speeds. Basically have to stay with the convoy in this mission. You don't want to range too far away from them. Oops, see, I haven't been paying attention to my waypoints, but see what those guys are doing out there.
Passing waypoint 7 at 120.
Naval, Atat, D22 is on air. D22 has crashed. How do you read Naval? Atat 22 is down.
Naval reading you 321. Where did 322 crash?
323. Passing waypoint 6 at
Atat 22 has crashed
2300.
near the bridges of Hozorisia road area.
321. Passing waypoint 8 at 120.
321, Naval got you well and clear. RTB.
Confirming the return to base.
233, Naval.
233 is here.
233, escort Toros and then approach the bridge near Hozorisia. Allocate 322 crash site.
Right, so there's a little drama in this mission. One of the helicopters obviously went down, and the first time I flew this mission, because of the heavy accents, I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to do at this point. But because he said engaging, I thought for sure I was supposed to go inspect that site right away. But if you listen carefully to Naval, she says continue the escort with Toros, and then when you're done with them, go look at the crash site. So you have to listen real carefully, and it's you have to pay attention to the call times too, because of course, like I mentioned before, they make the call times very similar. Like we're 233. There's a 321, there's a 323, there's a 322. It gets really confusing. And so the first part of what Naval was saying, she wasn't even talking to me, she was talking to 321, which was the other helicopter that was along with the one that went down, and she ordered that helicopter to RTB. I think the first mission, the first time I tried this, actually just RTB because I thought she was talking to me. Good mission design, little challenges like that throughout.
321, passing waypoint 11 at 190. 90.
You can see that they've developed the missions one after the other. So the second one, we learned how to fly formation along flight plan, and then now this one we're doing low speed maneuvering, and it gives you a little bit of confidence for the next mission. And the next missions are going to require the skills that were developed in the previous missions. Again, just great mission design on the part of the Vergeev Group. The way I've been flying lately, it's I've been able to trim the helicopter for the actual convoy escort, but with the force feedback stick, so it's got this new center position physically. And now, I mean, if I needed to rush somewhere, like up to my steer point, I can just take the control, speed up by just, pushing forward. So now I've transitioned to this forward, fairly speedy flight. But then when I approach my steer point, I can just let go of the stick, and now it's going to go back to that same center position, and eventually I'll be doing 50 kph in level flight. Let's head back to the convoy. We don't want to get too far away from them or you get penalized for it. I think you have to get a 60% or higher to pass the mission, and things like moving too far away from the convoy, you lose points like 10 points or 20 points. And obviously, ideally, you want to have 100 points at the end of the mission. I still haven't been able to manage that throughout the entire campaign.
Passing waypoint 8 at 2,300.
If you take on the campaign from the campaign screen when you start up the simulator, and you actually run through the campaign proper, if you fail a mission, that is, if you get below, I think it's 60%, not only do you have to refly the mission, but you actually get set back a mission. So if we failed this mission, we'd have to fly that formation flight again, which is dreadful. So you really want to be able to get through this mission the first time. Of course, the alternative is to not to fly through the campaign proper, but just to open the individual missions in the mission screen in the UI, and that way you can just fly each mission to your heart's content, move on to the next one when you want to. Of course, it's less challenging, obviously, that way, but another one of my goals, if I don't get too sick of all the missions, is to create a pilot and make them vulnerable. There's a setting in the pilot profile that allows you to set whether or not you're invulnerable. And I would like to be able to fly through the entire campaign with that vulnerable pilot and get 100% on each mission. I haven't been able to do that yet. Invariably, it's a particular mission that I get to where you're dealing with insurgents or rebels, and it's pretty intense. I usually get damaged and either die or am unable to get 100% on the mission because of the damage I took on, or I just crash in bad weather. Happens a lot. Pretty scary, really, if you think about the reality of the pilots that actually do this. See if we can fly backwards with these guys. So obviously, you know, I'm talking and bringing up other issues and things about the campaign, you know, but you ought to be looking around the village ahead of the convoy, looking for IEDs and, you know, insurgents and anything that might be a threat to the convoy behind all these houses and in these trees and all of that, since I've already flown the mission, and since I'm not going to be spoiling anything for anyone if they're already watching this and they've decided they want to, you know, see the whole mission. I'm not too worried about that because I know that nothing's going to happen there. So they've announced that they're almost to the destination, which is basically right up there. There's the two bridges that indicate the border to Georgia that we've had to fly very close to. So after we get cut loose from these guys, we'll go check out the crash site. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but if you do miss a waypoint, and let's say that I missed that first waypoint way at the beginning of the mission, I didn't realize it because I've been looking for threats or things like that and haven't been paying attention, you have to fly all the way back and hit that waypoint. But of course, at this point, you'd be way too far away from the convoy and you'd fail the mission. So you really have to pay attention to a lot of things at the same time, which is, you know, the nature of the beast in terms of this helicopter and being responsible for piloting, navigation, and weapons and everything else.
Toros, we've just arrived. Hilo may retire. Thanks and good luck.
Naval, this is 233. Primary objective completed. Switching to
So let's
additional.
go check out the crash site.
223, Naval copies that. Over.
One of the reasons that Ka-50 really didn't take off in terms of manufacturing and high numbers of production units is that it was determined that the pilot workload was just too much. But then there was a revitalization, apparently, for the two-seater, the training model, so that obviously now you've got two human beings that can split the task between them. And apparently they're manufacturing the Ka-50 now, the two-seater version, and successfully selling them to other countries and producing a lot of them. At least I've read that. So here's the crash site. There's our guy. So I think we have to come to a hover, basically. For a minute. Yeah, at 50 meters altitude. I could engage the auto hover, but I've been trying to practice my manual hovering. It's a lot easier when you can actually see your HUD.
Naval, this is 233, observing 322. Just around the embankment, close to the bridge. Complete 200, no fire visible.
Naval reading you 233. Return to base. Approach upon request to flight dispatcher.
Naval, 233.
Alright,
Understood.
so we're
Returning
cleared
to base. Proceeding.
RTB, and that's basically the end of this mission. So I'm just gonna RTB, and we will see you in the next mission.